And fast forward a little bit, got it pulled down through. That copper wire worked really well going down through the tube. It went right around, no problem at all. Was a bit of a trick to get out the hole at the bottom, but not too bad. Just two picks, like prying one and then using the other to pry the metal out. I definitely wouldn't go 12 gauge. I wouldn't go any thicker than that because otherwise it's going to be a pain in the butt to get out the hole at the bottom. So got those pulled through. That's for the idiot lights, warning lights. And so at this point, I got all the wire through the frame tubes that I'm going to need. All that's done. I can start working now on final connections. So I got these two, which I'll basically start inside the headlight buckets with the cloth covered wire. I'll start there with the connections and kind of work backwards. Like you can see right now, it's just this. I'll make all the connections inside the housing for that, just like I did on the tail light back there. So it'll just be cloth covered wire, hopefully coming out of here. I'm hoping I have enough that I can come around and split, and two of those cloth covered wires will go to this. So what I'll do there, I'll figure out how much of the cloth covered wire I'll slide some shrink tube onto that, make the connections to the blue and the yellow, pull it down, shrink tube it, and then push this down in the hole. So you'll never ever see it. It'll be a good connection. It will be shrink tubed and it will be glorious. I'll do the same process going to these two wires, which is the low headlight and power to the warning lights, and then the high beam headlight. These go through the backbone back here, and it's kind of a mess back here, but it does work. So I don't have any more white wire. That's kind of a bummer. So I had to run black wire to the coil. That's power. So blue and white up from the ignition up through the C-post. I'll make a connection to these and then pull through. And those wires there to the coil, I know I don't have enough cloth covered. So those are just going to get completely shrink tubed, like solid black kind of a deal. Probably in one tube, both wires in one tube. That'll connect to these. That's ignition stuff. This yellow wire actually is the hot that goes to the coils. You can see I can shift it there. This is not the yellow that goes to the warning light. That one goes down the frame and out the bottom over there somewhere. So this is coil stuff as well. Then I got the headlight, low beam, high beam. And then the stuff from the last video, I got the thicker wire from the regulator and the power going to the rear brake light switch. So all these wires, some go up, some go down. And what I'll do, like I said, when it comes to final connections, like I'll figure out if I want to start at one end or the other to be able to pull stuff through. And since most of those connections are going to go into the seat, it's okay if there's excess wire there. So I would recommend starting from the end terminal, the end device, or the end fixture, and working backwards so you can always pull wire through. Making sure that you don't pull it so tight that you don't have slack, because inevitably you're going to have to edit something in the future. You're going to have to modify or repair wiring in the future. And if you ever do like house renovation, electrical work, you always leave a little bit more wire in the box, right? Because you know inevitably you're going to have to mess with it. Same deal here. You want to pull it snug so it's not too sloppy and wires hanging all over the place, but at the same time, you don't want to pull it so tight that you screw yourself for future endeavors. So I'll start at the headlights, work back. I'll start at the coils, work back, and just kind of eventually come to where there's nothing left to do but connections here at the battery and the main circuit breakers and disconnects and fuses and all that junk. So coming along. Got these wires here ready for the coil, these wires ready under the seat for the main battery and connections. And I got these wires that come out through that bottom frame tube that'll go to the oil pressure switch and the neutral switch. And then, like I said in the last video, power hot to the brake light and brake light wires going out to that. Super clean. When it's all said and done, you'll see very little wiring, hopefully, fingers crossed. And even bigger fingers crossed that it actually runs. So yeah, I've been messing with the bike a little bit tonight too. Got some brass chain, or yellow zinc plated, I guess you'd call it, for the sissy bar of death back there, and the foot clutch chain to kind of go with the fork stop chain. So I was kind of stoked about getting those. Finally got the license plate bent up. The real license plate, not a Florida stand-in. And so bike's come along. Hopefully here we'll get the wiring done throughout the week this week, and then move on to, probably just engine tuning stuff then. Drain down, timing, testing, do a full tune-up on the points, make sure it's timed right, check the carb for baseline SNS settings, and Lord willing, fire this puppy up soon. So stay tuned. I'll start to do some of the end connections in maybe the next video, and if I come across any tips or tricks, I'll try and show you along the way. Otherwise, I'll probably just hit up the video for the next one after it's done, because it's too hard to work and hold the camera at the same time. So if you have questions, shoot me an email, leave it in the comments below. I do my best to respond to every YouTube comment. And so if you have any thoughts, tips, tricks, or questions, feel free to hit me up. Cheers, guys. Take care.